Welcome to Friends of the Word. This is Father Louis Scurti. I'm here at Annunciation Church, and you might hear some people praying in the background. We're here up in the sanctuary with my guest, Michael DeBenedetto. Michael is a parishioner, a longtime parishioner, and he recently passed the New York bar. So my guest is a Catholic legal attorney.
Welcome, Thank you so much for having me, Father. I really appreciate it.
I guess that's correct. Legal attorney, but
yeah.
What of the kind are there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Mike, we're here at Annunciation, and you've been here all your life, right?
Well, we've actually been to a couple other parishes, but I'd say we've been here probably about the past 6 years.
Oh, okay. So you and I started here at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm here. This is 8 years.
Yeah.
And your family is very familiar with me.
Yes.
When I say weekday mass, Bernice sits in that first row.
Yeah.
Mike is involved with everything, and your sister's a lector.
Yeah, yep. My sister's a lector. I'm involved in the young adult ministry. We actually just had a very, very successful retreat.
Great.
So that was.
And Ariel told me about that. Young guy.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
What's the goal of that? The young adult ministry, because I'm going to interview people from there eventually.
Okay, yeah. So the young adult ministry at Annunciation, we're really trying to reach out to the millennials and bring them closer to the faith. We had a very, very successful retreat. Like we had people share different talks and such. We focused on the 7 deadly sins and virtues. We had reconciliation. It was a very, very faith-filled retreat, and pretty much is a way to reach out to the millennials. In this time when some are struggling to stay involved in church matters and faith. So that's why these programs are very important to me and to the people that participate in it.
Maybe eventually you put me in touch with some of the key components of that group, and maybe we'll have a group discussion. It'd be nice, a round table for our show. Also, we didn't mention Nicole.
Yeah.
Tell my audience about Nicole.
Okay, so Nicole is my youngest sister. She passed away a few years ago from encephalitis. It was a very, very difficult brain disease. And Nicole, she's the most inspiring figure in my life. I've dedicated my career to her memory. Her will to continue to persevere through her illness all those years, and the fact that she brought so many people closer to God. In terms of people coming to Mass when they, were away from the church for some time, always prayers, always support, always thoughts to my family, to her. She really brought so much light to this world, and so that's why I dedicate my career to her. And also, an important point that I'm going to end up bringing up later is, her life is worth living. There's always these debates in society, disabled people, elderly people.
Good, that's important, of course. But tell the audience what she was like the last several years of her life.
Well, the last several years of her life, she suffered. She consistently, lost more and more weight, but she got the best of care from my mother. But sometimes even in her open-eyed coma state, we'd actually get a chance to see different, times when she would, crack a smile or something. So towards the end it was more of a struggle, but towards the beginning of it, she always continued to battle through the illness.
When Janice or Mike would bring her to church, she was in a carriage. Yeah. Okay, and how old was she when she passed? 12?
Yeah.
She was 12. Yeah, 12. So, again, the last 8 years, I knew her. She was in a carriage and had very little response, but you guys could read it because you're with her all the time. Yeah. And I like the fact that your family did not shun the public. Yeah. She was right there with us. She was part of the family of the parish, and she came to church, and she was adorable. Yeah. And you remember her before the illness?
Oh yes, of course. For the first 2 years of her life, she was just like any other rambunctious 2-year-old. When I was little, I remember I'd be playing with action figures with her. We'd set up all these different types of battle scenes, and she would come in and she would bring her Captain America. I'd bring my Batman. They would go all at it. So it was some happy memories. And she came to some of my baseball games and different things like that when I was younger. So and she loved Dunkin' Donuts. That's something she did.
That's great.
She loved but she was such a beautiful person and an angel, a truly special angel.
And she's watching over us. I think her picture is right over there on the prayer wall, which is very beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so she was an inspiration for you. Yeah. And how did that evolve into your participation in the fullness of the church?
Well, I mean, my faith was always important to me growing up and such. But then, when she, got ill, it became even more and more important to me. And it was a difficult time because I was going through middle school, different things like that.
Sure.
And then, I went to Catholic high school, went to DePaul Catholic High School, and, we had a really good faith-based community there. And, I would always pray for her, every day. We had daily mass at school.
Yes.
And I would always, keep her in my prayers and such like that. And she always, meant a lot to me for that. And then, I went to college and such, and I knew I always wanted
What college?
I went to St. John's University. I knew
We're talking Catholic kid here. He's very
Catholic. Great college. And I always knew I wanted to do law school. And so actually on my application to law school, I actually mentioned in my essay her and, her story and how she inspires me and, the legal career and how I want to make sure people become aware of, the importance of life and, all of its stages and such. And so, that definitely stood with me in terms of, her influence.
That's important. I think for pro-life movement, I think we need to realize that she was beautiful, but she was disabled.
Yeah.
I mean, she was, like I said, she came to mass in a carriage, and she didn't look like an average kid. She was beautiful, but she was in a crib.
Yeah.
She was in a carriage. She was disabled.
Yeah.
And your family never gave up.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't institutionalized, put away, shunned. She was out there.
Yeah, she was out there. Like we weren't afraid to, bring her out. We would even pack her up to go on different vacations. We would obviously bring her to church. She was the esteemed member of the parish community. Like everybody would come up to her and pray for her. And so like just so it was like she was sick and she was ill, but we actually had her hospital bed. We actually kept it in our family room because we actually wanted her to be like still a part of our life, different things like that, our daily routine. So it's not like she was put into a room upstairs, something like that, where she would just be to herself. No, I mean we kept her in the active presence of our family always. So she would constantly be hearing, okay, Mike's coming home, Dad's coming home, people are coming home, people are coming in. Oh hi, hi Nicole, how's it going? Different things like that. So we really believed in having her be able to hear that, because even in her state, she was still able to hear people talking and different things, and so that was very important to us.
That's beautiful.
To
I want you to keep Nicole and her family in your prayers. I think she's a saint. I mean, what else you need to prove a sainthood? She's in heaven, I'm sure, with God, smiling at all of us, Nicole, and watching over her family. But a certain and sort of an icon for respect life, an icon for putting a disability in the normal picture of life. Some people are disabled by personality, physical attributes. Didn't matter. We're made in the image of God, and I think that's what you guys have really
we
carried
wanted to
out.
make sure that mission was, put forth solidly. Like, I mean, I have some friends actually that, I mean, I've been on the March for Life sometimes. Last year I actually was on the March for Life, but I actually have people that I know that will be going on the March for Life next week. And, that's a beautiful thing about the March. Everybody, you have the, walking for, the abortion, stuff like that, but it's also for life in general, all these different causes, end of life, the elderly, different things like that, disabled. So it's a beautiful movement, and we're hoping to continuously make strides in that movement in the legal field and in the activism realm. So it's very, very important.
Maybe later on we'll talk about the legal aspects of extending life, terminating life, things like that. Maybe in a future show, but I want to touch that.
Yeah.
What inspired you to go on to law school after?
Well, actually, law school, it was interesting. So I was actually 13 years old, and I'm speaking to my mom. I was like, Mom, what should I do in my career? She's like, well, Mike, you like
13.
13.
Wow.
She's like,
I was trying to stay out of trouble. You're planning your career, but go ahead.
And she was like, well, Mike, you like to read, you like to write, you love history, stuff like that, and of course, you like to argue. So, so I was like, okay, I'll research law a little bit and see what it's about. And on different times in the news, you'd hear different things. Oh, the Supreme Court held this decision about Justice Scalia said this, Clarence Thomas said that. And I think to myself, who is this Justice Scalia person? Who is this Clarence Thomas person? And let me try to see, what they're about and see what the law is about. And so that, was something that was always in the back of my mind. And then, when I was applying to, colleges and stuff like that, St. John's had a great opportunity for me. It was called the BA/JD Law Program, and essentially what that means is when I applied to college, they considered my interest in law school, and it gave me, if I kept my grades up, I could apply to law school as a junior in college
Yeah.
and start law school as a senior. So my whole path to the law was kind of accelerated. But I have to say, my mom definitely planted the seed in me to
She's
do that.
very,
Yeah.
very, she's low key. Well, out here
Yeah,
she's low key.
yeah.
She's low key at home too.
Yeah.
But she gets her point across.
Yeah.
BAJD. So you went right to jurisprudence. So
Yes,
you became a
yeah.
JD.
So I started law school as a senior in college without a college degree because my senior year credits were my first year of law school. So it was a lot of pressure, but I knew I wanted to do law, so there was no debate or like second guessing. It was something that I had planned since walking into my freshman year. So I just need to stay the path and do what I needed to do.
And you did.
Yeah. So
That's
I've done
wild.
it. Yeah, right,
We're
yeah.
going to talk about that
Okay.
in the future
Yeah,
shows.
yeah,
This has been Father Louis Scurti with Mike DeBenedetto. You heard the origins of his interest in law, but also his personal devotion to faith in God. We'll talk more about that as he continues through these series. Thank you. Let me hear from you. Father Louis Scurti at hotmail.com. God bless you. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much, by the way. Appreciate it.